Magic City. My name is Val Capone, and I am joined here in the booth by
Julia Childless, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice to finally be on mic with you, Val Capone. This is the first time we've ever met.
It's crazy. I feel like I've known you my entire life. All right, let's take a look to the action on the track. Green and yellow and blue. Big swarm out there. Jamming for Puget Sound. He's fighting a big wall of green. That's number 100, Scott Slamilton.
Chuck Best coming around the outside, just barely missing that lift up on the leg to get him around the side, so he is recycling to the back to try that again.
And Scott is out first. We're going to see what the call is. He's not going to be lead jammer because he did get a forearm minor.
So Magic City still having that opportunity to pick up that lead jammer. Chuck Best rolling around the defense up there on Puget Sound to get that lead jammer and calling it off right away.
Now, good call by Chuck Best because Scott was right at the back of the pack. But excellent work by Scott, not stopping just because Chuck was touching his hips, because of course we all know that the jam does not actually end until that fourth whistle. So sometimes you can eke out that teeny little point, but all you need is one to win. But they couldn't even get that one quite yet. We still have 0-0 on the scoreboard. 28:50 left to go.
Exactly, and I think we're going to see that a lot today. These are two very fast teams. And, Magic City having their own style, moving very quickly. Puget Sound able to adjust very easily to other teams. And so you're going to see a lot of that. They're going to catch up to jammers very quickly, and there's going to be a lot of very close jams, I think.
I agree. And so right now we have number 11 in yellow and blue. That is Thunderstruck for Puget Sound.
And Jeremy Strecker, number 19 for Magic City. Of course, one of the best skaters, I think, in Derby today, and he's very fast, very agile, but he is running up against the back of Gino Evil, having a tough time getting around right there.
Thunderstruck being forced into the infield by 8D. That is Derek Calkins. Magic City skating under their government names tonight. So some of you may know the jammer number 19 as Streak, Jeremy Strecker. He's sneaking past Quadzilla, trying to knock him out, but Jeremy Strecker is out. He's not going to be lead jammer due to a minor track cut, Julia.
So once again, not lead jammer for Magic City. That's not a good sign. They really need to be getting that lead jammer status, especially up against a team like Puget Sound that is so fast. But they are working very well together, and so I hope they can adjust that a little bit.
Well, what happened there was the exact opposite of what we saw in the first jam. Magic City taking the lead jammer after Puget got out first without lead jammer. They called it immediately.
Coach Meow Mix out to talk to her team, try and work on some strategy there, and everybody taking a knee there at the jammer line.
And the opposite just happened in this last jam where Thunderstruck got out after Streak but did get lead jammer, called the jam immediately. 0-0 still on the scoreboard.
Powder up for Magic City. Very, very tall fellow.
And I'm trying to see who it is, trying to fight through. I believe that's Ryrod. Yep, Ryrod, number 14 for Puget Sound. Taking a bit of the 86 to the face there. Tim Kulger, excuse me.
Big hit to Ryrod off of Chuck Best there, and Christopher Harrell goes flying off to the side, but he is up and around. A lot of hustle and bustle going on in this pack. Like I said, very, very quick moving. They are going to have to let Powder go here in just a moment if they can't reform that pack, and he goes. And he does pick up that lead jammer status, and we'll call it off. Good call again. Ryrod right coming up to the back of that pack, and so Powder calling off that jam. And you're right, in that last bout, I think everybody was very surprised at the outcome that New York, a Portland bout. Everybody expected that score to be very, very different than it was, but Portland kind of came out swinging.
Yeah, they sure did. And, I think it was getting a little too close for comfort for New York Stock Exchange, so they definitely turned on the afterburners towards the end. But I'll tell you what, in the start of that second half, it was looking like it could have gone in the favor of Portland, but New York did prevail. Congratulations to New York. Right here out on the track, let's see what we got. Full complement of skaters for both teams. Nobody in the penalty box so far. We got 8D, Derek Calkins jamming for Magic City, Julia. He got lead jammer.
Very nice.
And he's facing off against Scott Slamilton.
Thank you very much for catching that. We are kind of at a back face from the jammer line, so we're not catching all of those right away. Again, Scott Slamilton, one of the fastest players on Puget Sound. But 8D, Derek Calkins calling that off right away. And Derek has a lot of the same style that Jeremy Strecker does. Very quick, very agile, and they just kind of barrel through it.
Yep. And Derek did get lead jammer, called it because he saw that Scott Slamilton, as you said, is one of the faster skaters for Puget Sound, called it. picked up 2 points. Now we have 2-2 on that scoreboard. 25 minutes left to go in the first period of gameplay between these two teams.
And if I could say, we have Ryrod and Radillac in the blockers for Puget Sound, and they are two of the best blockers in roller derby, and so we have a little switch going on there. Chuck Best up for Magic City.
Cougar Bait is hot on its trail, though, number 27 in yellow and blue. Cougar Bait doing a great job of attacking Chuck Best, but Chuck Best fights through, Julia.
Speed Dealer heading to the penalty box for that penalty.
And it looks like it was a major track cut. Thank you to the officials in the infield for signifying what is going on. And it looks like right now he's got to tie his shoelace.
Chuck Best giving us a show of why he is one of the most agile skaters in roller derby today. Just tying his shoelace as he's lapping the track.
Oh, it's not his fault. He was born with that name.
Exactly.
The crowd kind of eating that up a little bit. It's a very intense game. A little bit of levity never hurts.
This is the game to see here for
Certainly.
those of you at home. This is definitely the game everybody's been looking forward to all day.
Including the two of us,
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
So we got Speedy in the box. Chuck Best calls the jam. Let's see how many points he picked up on that last pass. I'm going to say that was a 15-point jam for for Chuck Best.
Well, that's kind of what's going to happen in this bout. We're going to have to get some big jams because these teams are going to be so close and ranked so close together.
I'm going to venture to say that what's going to happen is nobody's ever allowed to go to the penalty box because that's the only time big jams are going to happen.
I would agree completely, and that's going to be sort of the undoing of whatever team ends up losing this bout, is that they're going to run into penalty trouble. And as we know, that once you do that, it's hard to go back.
Yeah. You know, the sin bin is a place you never want to end up.
Well, and you play, so I always love announcing with players because they know things that I don't know, and that's got to be extremely frustrating for players.
Oh, it sure is.
I believe this is Jeremy Strecker, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct. That's number 19. He's getting a swarm attack. Earl Slick in the mix. Thunderstruck going in for some pain. Has to let him go because he is out of play. Lead jammer goes to the guys in green, Magic City.
Chuck Hendrick looking very frustrated with that block. Jeremy Strecker just coming around through him. He and Gino Evil putting up a fight. Chuck Hendrick going to have to let him go or face that penalty because we do not want a broken pack.
Wow, Hollywood Chuck Hendrick was looking for a call there, but Streck took it, got out.
Speed Dealer out of the penalty box and hot on his tail. Jeremy Strecker going to try and pass a couple more people, and then he will call off that jam.
Smart call right there by Jeremy. You gotta pay attention to where the opposition is. Speed Dealer lives up to his name. He deals out the speed every time he's on those skates of his, those Rydell skates. Strecker knew that, called it right away because Speed was right at the back of the pack about to breach it. Puget Sound still held at 2. We have 25 on the board for Magic City.
And once again, Powder up for Magic City. Powder kind of the favorite of this team, I think. He is just so cool and so chill, and he just does his thing and doesn't even think about it.
Yeah, Powder is an excellent player. He always looks like he's having a good time. Doesn't look like he ever struggles, and even though he's going up against some of the greatest skaters in Derby today. Down goes somebody's knee pad. Out of the pack first. That's stand aside. We do have a lead jammer. Powder. Powder calls it immediately.
Powder not even waiting till he hits the back of the pack, just calling that jam and resetting.
Christopher Smith, for those of you who are scoring along at home. Julia and I are both huge fans of both these teams.
Exactly, and I have such a tough time switching back. I actually told Magic City today,
Yeah.
I said, you guys are messing with my head because I have to keep trying to remember who you all are.
I said exactly the same thing. I told Chef and just the tip. I was like, hey, no offense, guys, but don't try to be legit. I'm calling you by your Derby names. We can talk given names when we're in line at the DMV. Back to the action on the track. Let's see who we got there. Very tight formation, number 8D. Who is that?
We got 8D, so that's Derek Calkins once again.
Yeah, Derek doing a great job out there. Facing off against Hollywood Chuck Hendrick. Chuck forcing him into the infield. Is it worth taking the penalty? Let's see.
No, it is not. He's going to let him go, and he's going to pick up lead jammer there. Derek Calkins getting a big yell out from Meow Mix.
Wow.
And she tells him to call it off because Scott Slamilton is hot on his tail.
Scott looking mildly frustrated, but calm, cool, and collected. I don't blame you, Scott. If I skated as fast as you did and forced him to call the jam every damn time you were skating against him, boy,
Yeah,
but
Scott always looking so serious, and he's such a cheery fellow when you catch him off track,
really is,
but he always looks like he's focused. And of course, Meow Mix, Jacksonville, her women's team going to the regionals for the first time this year. Really exciting there, and she does a great job coaching these guys.
Yeah, she's wonderful on and off the track. She's a former Midwestern girl.
Yeah,
I love me some Meow Mix.
From Wisconsin,
Sure.
same place as Jukebox.
Yeah, hey there. All right, so we got Speed Dealer back on the track for Puget Sound. Who's out there jamming for
Let me see.
Magic
It looks
City?
like Chuck Best right out there, 1X, running into a huge wall of yellow, just having a rough time getting through.
And Speed Dealer gets out first with a quickness. Look at his jersey billowing in the breeze.
Chuck Best getting a big hit out there from Ryrod, it looks like.
And that's going to be a track cut. That's right. And he knows it. He knows it. Good on you, Chuck. Sometimes you just make it happen and you're not happy with it. It happens. You hope the refs didn't see it. It's kind of like Las Vegas. If the refs didn't see it, maybe it didn't actually happen.
Exactly. And the guys know that, too.
This is a perfect opportunity, however, Julia, for Speed to capitalize on this, as he is the lone jammer out there. And they are swarm attacking number 9, Powder. But Powder is trying to fight through that wall of yellow. Speed Dealer is out now. 5 big roller derby
and
points.
this is the place to close up that point differential. This is what you need. And like we had said earlier when we first started here, it's going to take penalties to score this game.
Both these teams very physical. Both these teams very speedy. Both these teams very agile. It's going to be the penalties that's going to nail down the coffin. But really, there's going to be no way to determine who's going to end up victorious at the end of this.
I couldn't even begin to guess. And the great thing about these two teams is these guys have been skating together a long time. These are both pretty old teams. These guys have all been together a very long time, and so you have people that communicate very well and enjoy skating together and form really tight walls, and so it's really just going to be a toss-up.
All right, we got an official timeout. Let's see what's going to happen here. Right now, I can tell you, however, that the scoreboard reads Puget Sound is skating with 12 points on the board, and Magic City has 25. We have 18 minutes and 35 seconds left to go
in this first half. Just a quick shout out. We'd like to thank Rydell Skate Design.
Always.
Performance, comfort, and fit are challenged on a daily basis. Stop by our booth and learn why our boots are the choice of top skaters everywhere and have been for quite a while, I believe. Ringster would like to extend a thanks to all the volunteers, as would Val and I. Volunteers are what make this happen, and they work so hard, and they come out and just put all of their soul into this. So we love the volunteers. Everybody who's on a league out there, please thank your volunteers and make it worth it for them to come out and give you a hand and let you skate and have a good time.
Speaking of home team bouts, I'd just like to send a personal best of luck to my personal league, the Windy City Rollers, that I've been a part of for a while. Our All-Stars are facing off against Naptown tonight in Chicago.
My goodness, yeah.
So that's going to be a pretty exciting game. Kick-ass. Both leagues are amazingly strong in the North Central region.
And
so.
Naptown really showing us what they were made of this year. And, of course, Windy City, classic roller derby. I mean, you guys are strong all the time.
Thank you. Yeah, the All-Stars work so hard, the Windy City Roller All-Stars, as every All-Star team does. I mean, realistically.
Kind of bummed I can't see that.
Yeah, actually, I was too when I realized it was the same day. I was like, oh, what did I do?
Darn it.
I need to update my Google Calendar sooner.
Yeah.
But, I had already committed to this. And honestly, I would never pass up this opportunity to get to call this game in particular with you also, my dear.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, when we were talking about rosters for this game, I said I need to be on the Magic City Puget Sound game. Yeah, this is going to be an excellent bout, as we see 25 on the board for Magic City, 12 for Puget Sound.
I can't really see who's back there for it. Looks like Jeremy Strecker again for
that's
Magic
definitely
City.
Strecker. And
Corey Payne.
Corey Payne, thank you. I was like, I think that's Corey. The other thing,
it's always a joke I have with people that you've known a league for a long time when you can see them
without seeing their number
half
and name.
a track and know who they are. So that happens pretty frequently. I got the Bridgetown Menace here behind me, waving me around.
Shredding Mercury, excellent. Tommy Gunn had a great game.
Love those guys.
Oh wow, Quadzilla forming a sandwich, getting it out.
Oh,
19,
beautiful.
Corey Payne, oof, 19 versus 19. Strecker is out, gets lead jammer.
Corey Payne going down pretty hard there and coming back up.
Oh yeah, and Megasaurus pointing, saying, look at his skate going out of bounds. Had to go back in and cut return. Corey Payne facing off against Streak again, 19 on 19.
Corey Payne, this is very classic Corey Payne style to get right up behind the other jammer and just, you know, make him work for it.
Only
really.
inches, now centimeters were separating them as they skated
Exactly,
past.
and Corey just does that, and it's kind of a little mental fake out almost.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, definitely, it's an intimidation factor. But you know who doesn't intimidate easily? I'm going to go with Jeremy Strecker.
I'm gonna go top on that one as well. He just doesn't seem to really be fazed by much of anything.
No, not at all. And you know what? I love that about him. I love that he is so dedicated to his game and his team. If you are not in green, you do not matter.
But
he's
he's so supportive of the sport
always,
as a whole.
Always.
I mean, he just wants Derby to be amazing.
He's a phenomenal athlete, a phenomenal teammate.
Definitely. Powder up again for Magic City, of course, kind of the glue that holds this team together, and he is fighting Chuck Hendrick, it looks like, up there at the front, and Scott Slamilton and Cougar Bait not able to make it through. Chuck Hendrick whacking way up to make him work to get out. Ryrod also backing way up to get past Magic City, so everybody working on their own little section here.
Yeah, Ryrod just got past just the tip, picks up lead jammer for Puget Sound. It was like we were watching the game in rewind. Both teams the exact same strategy within seconds of each other.
Just backed up right in front of us.
You know what? And this is a good seat to have, my friend. Okay, Cougar Bait is in the penalty box, unfortunately, but so is, I believe that's Derek, 8D. Oh, in the face. Oh, that's not good. Hollywood Chuck taking a trip to the penalty box.
Ryrod taking another loop around, picking up some extra points, and Powder looping his way back around Cougar Bait and trying to catch up with Ryrod.
That's actually Scott Slamilton was throwing the shoulder into Powder.
And it looks like we have
Smith.
36 in the box for Magic City. I'm not sure who that is in the penalty box. 86?
Yes, that is 86.
Tim
That's going to be Tim Kulger. Kugler?
Kugler.
We're going to have fun with these names. We're going to call you Tim K.
Tim K.
Works for me.
I did check on some of these things before I started, so I'm trying to keep them all straight. But
John Weichel, as in Michael. That's how he says it. See, this is the brilliant thing about skating under given names versus taken names.
Right.
We get so used to the silly puns, we actually forget how to pronounce people's
exactly.
names. And that's the thing I dread as an announcer. But yeah, thank you for the tip there, John Weichel, as in Michael. I think that's, lead jammer, as in John Weichel.
As in lead jammer.
Yeah, congratulations, John.
I don't think anybody needs clarification on what that means.
No, you look at that finger of power pointed at you, and you know definitely. Speed Dealer fighting through the pack, trying to get out, getting a little bit of assistance up top from Corey Payne.
Trying to get around Mega Soras there, Heath Frazier. And boy, I tell you what, Heath Frazier has like the booty block of death.
And just watching him in every game I've seen him skate has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
He is just leaps and bounds. I mean, he was already a very talented skater to begin with, but just watching him from, I think the last time I saw him was last year.
Yeah, and I think for a guy that big, he maneuvers a lot faster than he should.
Yeah.
I always think, man, he's huge. He's not going to go anywhere, and then he kind of zips around the track back and forth, and I just think, how do you do that?
Because he's made out of magic.
Yeah.
Magic City.
Magic.
All right, so let's take a look into that scoreboard. Wow, we have a 14-point game, and I just did that math, and it didn't really hurt that bad. 20 on the board for Puget Sound, 34 for Magic City, 15 left on the clock.
Looks like we can't really see who's out there for Magic City. Everybody's kind of hiding. That must be Chuck Best then.
Yep,
he's a little
Chuck
short.
Best.
So looks
but
like
tall on skill. So we got Stan decide, hey, I got a joke for you. He just told it to me. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Stan.
Stan who?
Stan decide, I'm coming through for lead jammer. There you go. He got lead jammer. And he calls it. Do they see it? No, they didn't. Oh, that's unfortunate. See, the thing is, a lot of times when jammers get through, they just do the flurry of taps. They don't realize that there's a bunch of giant blockers out there. You have to flourish.
And people
with those
may not
taps.
see you.
Right, exactly.
And I've seen a lot of debates about how that should work. And really, in the end, I just tell people, just make sure somebody can see you. Because if somebody's smart enough to see you flailing around, they probably know you're trying to call off the jam.
Yeah, and some people, you'll see them doing it very dramatically. Stan is a very slick skater. He's got a very smooth style. He's one of those guys that's
I
very.
thought you meant slick. I'm like, no, he didn't fall down. He looked fine to me.
So.
See, he should leave the jokes to us.
Yeah, exactly. Cougar Bait jamming for the first time tonight, getting taken out by Megasaurus. Lead jammer though, who's that, Julia?
It looks like Derek Calkins right out there, 8D. And he just looks like he's cruising around, taking a Sunday walk through the park.
On a Saturday.
Yeah, just hanging out.
You know.
He's up against Ryrod and Quadzilla up there in the front. They got to let him go.
The usual. Cougar Bait, once again, taken out by 00, Heath Frazier.
Cougar bait skating in his first big tournament.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal athlete. Brescian is his given name, so you might see him listed as B. Thomas.
Okay, yep, that's exactly who that was. I did check that. And this is the first time I've seen him skate, and he's phenomenal. He definitely fits right into this team.
Yeah,
completely.
He is a Puget Sound skater for sure. Actually, he and Earl Slick drive all the way from the Springfield, Eugene area. Speed Dealer used to as well.
Exactly.
But Speed Dealer recently relocated, I believe.
He did. He relocated right after I was visiting him, actually, with his lovely girlfriend, who's here as well today.
Yeah, Lindsay's wonderful. She skates for Ole. But yeah, so they trek 4 hours each way.
Isn't that incredible?
It blows my mind how dedicated these athletes are.
Well, and it shows you how important that team is to them.
Exactly.
I mean, that team bond that you have is so great. Meow Mix chatting with her league again. Meow Mix, of course, sponsorship of Vanilla Derby. She does work for Vanilla. Always striving to exceed your expectations. Now available with upgraded Italian leather. So if you're looking for some really fancy skates, that may be the place to go. And I know they're great. They let you kind of try things on.
Yeah, Vanilla Skates are excellent people. They will find you exactly what you need, and then some.
And a couple of the guys on Magic City are also reps for Vanilla. I believe that Michael Cowart, is that his name? This is so hard. Chef.
Let's just call him
Exactly.
Chef.
Yeah. And also
I've
Jeremy
been
Strecker.
Him a hard time about it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just calling you Chef. He's like, Val, of course
He's like,
you
it's
are.
okay.
Yeah, he's another guy who is an excellent team player. Always in a good mood. He is evil on the track, but he is sweet as can be in real life.
Well, and he gives great hugs.
He does.
Shouldn't give that
He's
away. I shouldn't give that away about the guys, but.
And he also hugs the inside line very well.
Exactly.
See
so
how that works?
it must just transfer over really easily. Yeah.
Natural progression. All right, 24 on the board for Puget Sound, 39 for Magic City. 14 minutes and 7 seconds left to go. Wow. Just like we thought it would be. What a phenomenal game so far.
So we got Powder on the line for Magic City. And
knock, stand aside.
Man, I was going to say he had no problem with that at all. He looked like he just walked right past everybody.
Yeah, he often does. He's just a phenomenal skater. There's not enough I could say that's good about stand aside.
Unfortunately, Magic City does have a couple people in the box, and so they're skating a little bit short right now. Looks like Chuck Best and Megasaurus trying their best to keep everybody back.
Oh, looks like Hollywood Chuck Hendrick is saying, did you miss me? Because here's the floor. Let me introduce you to it. That was pretty phenomenal. And he just skated away like, and what? When's the next jam?
He has a tendency to do that, yeah.
Love that about Chuck. All right, 24 on the board for Puget Sound, 40. So Magic City was able to eke out that 1 point.
And that's going to be what counts here. I mean, it really may come down to 1 point. So if you're not willing to just give it your all every jam, you're going to miss out on those points. So Derek Calkins up to the line back there for Magic City.
No, actually, I believe that's Streak.
Is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, you're right. Jeremy Strecker.
Yep.
And it looks like Puget Sound is going to swap out their jammer.
Well, you know, a team timeout, and I'm mildly confused. Okay, thank you. No, stand aside got lead jammer, didn't score any points.
Looks like they're going to have a timeout here for a minute. While Val tries to figure out what exactly is going on, I'm just going to remind everybody that Green Monster Roller Sports is in the house here. Quadzilla here on Puget Sound, owner of that. So he is on the track right now, but if you need anything like gumball toe stops, which are the best toe stops on the planet, head over to Green Monster Roller Sports. And I have to say, Green Monster has some of the best customer service I've ever found. They don't use vowels, but they don't use everything they can to make you happy. You don't need to use vowels when
you're that
awesome,
good.
I feel.
You don't need vowels.
And I know both of those guys, and they're so super to deal with because they'll just go out of their way to make sure that they're doing everything they can
Absolutely.
to help you with things like that. So.
Oh, by the way, so in the last bout that I was calling, it was Dallas Deceptions. Dr. Feelgood, I pretty much fell in derby love with him and his phenomenal toe stop usage. I asked him, I was like, I gotta know, what is it? What do you use? Gumballs.
Gumballs,
Of course, of course. So check out greenmonster.com. Don't use any vowels in the Green Monster, and you too can find yourself some amazing toe stops. Scott Slamilton jamming for Puget Sound, facing off against Jeremy Strecker. Streak almost taken out by Radillac, but sneaks around it. Stand aside, the last blocker at the top of the pack. Does a 360. Man,
He's gonna need to let him go here pretty quick because we're coming up to that 20-foot section of the pack, and he's gonna have to let him go. So he does. He does not get the penalty though.
Both jammers had a minor track cut. There will be no lead jammers for 2 minutes. This is exactly the kind of jam that I was hoping to see.
This is a full jam, ladies and gentlemen, a full 2 minutes. And for those of you who skate and for those of you who watch, 2 minutes is a very long time.
It's a long time.
Oh, Scott Slamilton coming right up against Derek Calkins, knocking him down, but he does get back up. Radulac trying to fend off Derek Calkins, but it does not work. Jason Mosley going down on the side.
That's going to be a back block major, unfortunately, for Scott Slamilton.
Yes,
Jason Mosley taken down. Good call by the officials. It was one of those unfortunate things of picked up too much speed and rammed him right from behind. I don't think it was intentional, but it did happen nonetheless. 5 points on the board for straight.
So now what we have is a full 2 minute jam, power jam, Magic City.
Yeah, and that's not what the folks back in the Pacific Northwest want to hear, but it's definitely looking good for the folks in Florida.
Stand aside holding his arm there. Looks like he may have a little bit of a sore spot, but looks okay. Jeremy Strecker just trucking along, and Magic City trying to back the pack way up and slow it down to give him as much space as possible to make those passes.
Justin Tip doing a great job of entertaining Hollywood Hendrick at the back of the pack. Now there's a brilliant 3-wall built up right in front of Chuck. Chuck is waving for the cavalry to come in. Good call by Chuck. Sometimes you get trapped behind those walls. There's no reason why the people up front should be saying, get up here, get up here. No, you go back to him.
Right.
And you break up that wall and you free your teammate. Sometimes you just get overpowered. It's not that Chuck is not fighting. Wow, streak. Mid-sentence silence me. Thank you, sir.
And that is that's the end of that jam. Streak taking a big shot at Hollywood.
Yeah.
Or excuse me.
On one
Chuck
leg,
Hendrick.
by the way.
One-legged. Just that's a mean-looking block, and
yeah.
it was legal. It was completely legal. He took a nice, clean block, but it looked pretty vicious. So
I'm pretty sure that's what we call the holy shnikes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it came out in Chuck's head like that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so now we have a blocker at the back of the pack taking their intentional fourth minor for a legal procedure. That definitely means that more than likely, number 42, John Weichel, is trying to clear his penalty cachet, so he's available to jam soon.
Chuck Best up to jam by himself. Scott Slamilton still in the penalty box, but was just released, and so he's going to try and make his first pass and try and catch up a little bit to Chuck Best. Chuck Best just cruising along, trying to get that pass and trying to get in through Quadzilla.
Speed
and
Dealer.
Cougar Bait and Speed Dealer up there. Speed Dealer taking a big hit off of Christopher Smith, but staying on his skates. Very nice there. And Chuck Best looking like he took a little bit of a hit to the leg there. He looks like he's still having trouble with his shoelace, and he took a little bit of a hit and limping a little bit, so I hope he's okay.
Now out there on the track with Speed Dealer was actually Bonus Jonas.
Ah, correct.
Not Cougar Bait.
I keep getting them mixed up.
Well, they're smaller in stature, and they're both very wily and very powerful skaters, so I can see how that could happen.
This is why we have two announcers, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. That is true. All right, so who do we got jamming in green?
Let me see here. Looks like, once again, Derek Calkins.
And he's facing off against Corey Payne, who just picked up lead jammer. And, it's been a little while since Puget Sound, according to my officially unofficial stats, has gotten lead jammer. Hopefully Puget Sound can capitalize on this. They have one skater in the penalty box, but
what they really need is just to stay focused. Puget Sound really needs to just stay calm and stay focused and just do their best to get through when they have that opportunity. Corey Payne doing what he does best there and catching up to Derek Calkins, giving him a little push out, a little jammer on jammer action there. The pack trying to slow way down, give everybody a chance to catch up, and we do have a skater for Puget Sound in the box. They're skating short. Corey Payne will call off that jam.
All right, we have 8 minutes and 41 seconds left to play. Let's wait for that scoreboard update to happen. Looks like Ryrod is in the penalty box as the pivot for Puget Sound. 29 on the board for Puget. 5 points picked up by Corey Payne, and 66 for Magic City.
Still a very close bout.
Down.
And I'm noticing here in-house, it is just dead quiet. People aren't really cheering. They're not really saying anything. You could practically hear a pin drop, the quiet that's going on in this room. I think people are so intent on watching this bout that nobody's really responding to it.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense bout. And Speed Dealer fighting his way through, dancing with Chuck Best at the top of the pack. Speed Dealer is not going to be lead jammer because he did do a minor track cut.
Christopher Smith still trapped at the back here and finally breaking his way through past Quadzilla.
Powder just made me lose my mind.
Wow. And doing what he does best. He just does his thing and gets through and finishes his job and walks off the track. I mean, he doesn't even think about it. It's like it's second nature to him. But
these teams, both these teams, for different reasons and some very similar reasons, are so mind-blowing to watch. We are so lucky that we get to do this.
This is an amazing bout, and this is why I love announcing roller derby. Is I get to see some of these amazing athletes do the things that they do, and I have no idea how it works. I couldn't even begin to think.
Stand aside, number 4 for Puget Sound.
John Weichel looks like his first time up to jam today for Magic City, if I'm not mistaken.
You are mistaken, my love. In the 12th jam, John Weichel, as in Michael, jammed.
See, this is why you have somebody running stats next to you, like Val Capone, because this is amazing stuff.
That's because I'm a dork. Stand aside, however, is not a dork. He is lead jammer for Puget Sound.
Somebody has to not be a dork since the two of us are.
Clearly. Stand aside is trying to navigate through the pack. Let's see what he calls the jam. How many points did he pick up on that pass? There was no points awarded to...
He's saying 2.
Wow. And what's interesting is 0 points were awarded to Stand Aside, yet 2 points were given to Magic City. It's all about the timing for that lead jammer call.
It definitely is. It looks like we're going to have a discussion about that, I think.
John Weichel is a very wily jammer, and he was able to kind of turn his body sideways to just cut up the inside just enough to pass the opposition's hips.
Well, for those of you who are not aware, Magic City is constructed a lot of jam skaters.
Yes.
Most of them are previous jam skaters, and
so
they're used to that. They're used to that maneuverability.
The slitherine, if you will, you know?
And that sort of dancing style of skate. And so when you see them play, the first time everybody saw them play, I remember being at that tournament and everybody just being confused because they couldn't figure out what the heck they were doing. None of them wore toe stops. They were kind of zipping and twirling, and nobody could figure it out. And that's something that's very typical of Magic City style. So once again, I'd like to just shout out to the volunteers. Ringster, one of our sponsors who runs all of our stats and everything like that, loves volunteers. We love volunteers. I'm just going to keep saying it because I work with all these volunteers and they're amazing people. And if we didn't have them, there wouldn't be any roller derby.
We wouldn't have all this.
It would just be impossible to do that. We got Val Capone taking a picture here. Check out our Facebook.
I'm Instagramming. It's an official timeout. I need people to realize how amazing this roller derby is.
It definitely
honestly
is, and I don't know that there's any way to know that unless you have people. So get people in front of your TV, everybody out there.
Yeah, start doing some viewing parties. And if you are doing viewing parties, certainly please do send your photos to Derby News Network. We would love, love, love to see what is going on out there in Derby Nation. We know there's a lot of things you could be watching tonight.
I'm sort of in a Derby News Network sandwich, I just noticed. I got Justice Feelgood Marshall here on my right. I got you on my left.
And we are going to eat you up, girl.
It is like a happiness party over here for me in St. Louis.
That's how we roll at DNN, happy
We've been in St. Louis for a couple of days, and I am really enjoying it. I think it's such a cool city to be in.
All right, speaking of cool, we get to see Hollywood Chuck in action jamming.
Yes, indeed.
This is going to be exciting for me as a fan of Puget Sound.
Looking
him go.
Looks like Chuck Best there, and he's just,
wow. Chuck versus Chuck. Who got out first? Why, it's Hollywood.
Just like nothing ever happened. Chuck Best stuck in between, in the back of Ryrod there, trying to keep him back. Why, he's one of the best blockers in the sport, I think.
Oh, definitely. Chuck already out, picked up 4 points on that last pass, closing the gap a little bit. Not a lot of skaters out on the track. They're going to have to work together.
Tim Kugler and Powder trying to keep everybody back. Powder taking a big spill. Chuck Best trying to pick up a couple more points.
And Hollywood Chuck did call the jam. Meow Mix out there saying, what is going on? You cannot touch the opposition's body. But you know what? There was no harm, no foul there. Sometimes your hands are going to come into contact with the opposition. And I think a lot of times when that happens, it's kind of a brace so that you don't go barreling into them, so that you're not knocking them over. But just because I touch...
Meow Mix very, 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 tight on those rules. She wants to make sure everybody is doing what they should.
As a bench coach, you have to be. When you're coaching the team, you have to.
I've seen her be very strict with her guys on how it happens, and so it's really impressive the way she polices that. Derek Calkins, again, out for Magic City.
Up against Cougar Bait. Cougar Bait jamming for Puget Sound. Derek trying to sneak around the outside. I believe that's Earl Slick he's got to dance with.
It is indeed, and Earl Slick has to eventually let him go. He will not pick up the lead jammer. Looks like minor track cut there. So he's not lead jammer. We still got a chance
2-minute jam. 2-minute jam is what we got, actually.
Once again.
A track cut also signed to Cougar Bait.
So we're going to see if we can do this 2-minute jam without a penalty and see what happens. Cougar Bait zipping around the outside of number 4, TJ Binkley.
Just the tip of his shoulder right in the sternum of Cougar Bait. Wow. Big takeout. I'm hearing whistles being blown.
Well, and TJ Binkley doesn't, when he's on the track, he doesn't look that big, but you get right up next to him. And
he's a very powerful skater.
Very big dude. Like he's.
There's okay.
Somebody's lost a wheel.
Wow. Okay, let's figure out who that is because we do not want any injuries. One of the officials.
Somebody's lost wheels.
2 wheels. Okay, let's take a look. And it looks like it was the pivot for Magic City. Luckily, nobody got injured in that, but boy, that front end of the skate just came off.
Trying to figure out who that was. Oh, there we go. Looks like Jason Mosley sitting on the ground, lost a couple of wheels off of his skate, so he's going to try and get that sorted out while we finish up this 2-minute jam. Bad time to lose a wheel, though. This is a full 2-minute jam, and there's really nothing anybody can do.
Right.
Corey Payne coming up against the back of Mega. Heath Frazier right there.
Cougar Bait taking out.
Heath Frazier going down, but coming right back up again.
And that was courtesy of Cougar Bait. Cougar Bait did that. Nice work.
Little tiny guy.
Yeah,
Man.
the little cougar that could. There you go. We almost thought we had a star pass there, but actually when he was taking out Megasaurus, in the process, he lost the jam star.
Cougar Bait sitting on the floor. Looks like he got a big jump to the chest.
Megasaurus just turned around and gave the audience what they wanted to see. That's all I'm going to say about that. So Cougar's doing all right. He's just got a little bit of wind knocked out of him. The EMT's saying, "Are you doing okay?" And he surely is. All right, so it looks like we're going to have an official timeout. And Mistrial is saying, Maomix, let's have a conversation. It looks like the skater who lost their wheels, who was that again? I'm sorry.
It looks like it was Jason Mosley, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, I believe you're right. It looks like he may have picked up a penalty that he didn't get a chance to serve.
Okay.
So we're going to see, yep. Well, let's see. We're going to have a substitute possibly. Maomix is being very cute right now. Okay.
she's doing her thing, waving to everybody. This is a great time to just talk about. We talked about Rydell skates earlier, and one of the cool things you can do with Rydell is you can actually design your own skates. So you can go to their custom color lab, go into the color program.
Awesome.
And I've never put one together, but I feel like I want a pair just so I can say I've tried that. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I mean, just watching all the custom color creations, say that 3 times fast, I dare ya. But it's just really excellent, the technology that Rydell is putting out there for us. Rydell skates are my favorite skates. Look at how many skaters here today are rocking Rydells.
Most definitely.
And you know, it's one of the things that sets them apart is that they will make you any kind of custom thing that you could ever imagine.
They'll just make you anything you want.
Yes, they sure will.
That is amazing. And what a cool thing. Like if you have team colors that you want to sport together, if you have a certain color combination that you like for whatever reason, you can go ahead and do this. So we're still in a timeout here. We got a couple of questions and things like that going on, a couple penalties that need to be served.
So we're still in official timeout. So I talked about this earlier. Okay, I'll talk about it at the next timeout, I suppose. But here's a little preview. Muffin needs some help. Started with Duke City, skates for Denver now. Terrible leg break. We'll talk about it later. Okay, back to the action on the track. Terribly fast through the pack is Jeremy Strecker.
Oh, it's definitely followed. Looks like a stand aside trying to roll around Christopher Harrell and Chuck Best there. Finally able to do it, but he is a little bit late. Jeremy Strecker just weaving his way through the pack like a knife through butter.
And that is what Streak does, my dear.
Just like a jam skater does. Just
Did you just use the worst derby cliche in the book?
Did I?
I love that about you. I'm just
like a knife through butter?
Yeah, oh yeah. That's a good old 2005 reference right
well,
there.
I haven't been doing it as long as you
Oh
have,
my
so
God!
That is cool. Whoa!
Sweet Ditka, did you see that?
I did indeed. That is amazing.
360 on one skate, leaning back.
We've been talking about his talent all day. We don't need to talk about it. He just shows us.
Well, we do need to, that is true. We do need to talk about stand aside, number 4, picking up his 4th minor. Down goes Streak.
Thunderstruck, hitting Streak.
Streak got thunderstruck for sure. Oh, the fans are
and Thunderstruck is going to pick up the penalty for that.
Now we do have a skater down, but, oh, God.
Not for long. Not for long.
Streak, my friend. 360 on one skate, leaning back.
Not for long.
Now we do have a skater down, but, oh, God. Not for long. Streak, my friend. 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 Not for long. Streak, my Wowie wow wow is what we call that maneuver.
Streak giving us a little show there. He's not hurt. He's fine.
You know, sometimes, though, I got to say, I think what happened there is it's a little bit of a stinger. You get the wind knocked out of you. You're like, sweet Jeebus, that hurt. And then you're like, wait a minute.
Okay, I'm good.
I'm Jeremy Strecker.
Yeah.
Boom, I'm going to electric worm off the ground onto my skates.
He's fine. So like we said, Thunderstruck going to pick up the penalty. Looks like what he probably did was blocked Strecker after the whistle had been called. And I doubt it was intentional. I think he was just on it.
Thunderstruck's a good cat. He
was on it. He was focused, and it came after the whistle.
And sometimes it happens, you know, because just as much as you should not stop racing as a jammer till that fourth whistle, same thing as a blocker. The jam is not over, and sometimes it's just that split second of timing.
So we've got Malmux and Radilak having a conversation with Mistrail here. Mistrail, of course, the head of officiating for MRDA. I want to talk about this. You said one muffin?
Yeah, this is pretty important to me, so I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. We
please.
can definitely talk about the officials later because they deserve it. But somebody that deserves our help right now is a wonderful woman who has done so much for roller derby over the years with her skill and her style and just her good attitude. She is a phenomenal, awesome broad. And she had a terrible, frighteningly bad leg break.
Oh, my goodness.
Like maybe one of the worst ones that I've ever seen. Her foot was literally 180 degrees backwards. If you have a strong stomach, I could show you some pictures, but they're pretty intense. I mean, I showed them to my ortho doctor, and they even went,
oh,
and these are people that see that all the time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, Muffin, you, my love, are a badass. So.
And where's she from?
Well, she started her derby career in Duke City, and if I'm not mistaken, the other league, of course, she's now skates with Denver Roller Dolls.
Okay.
If you want to learn more about her, you can go to denverrollerdolls.org. But what she really needs for you to do, what I need for you to do, what we all need for you to do is go to One Tough Muffin, spell that out, ONETOUGHMUFFIN.chipin.com. If you have $1, if you have 75 cents, it will help her out.
So just don't have your morning coffee for the next week and
yeah,
pop a
don't
couple
go to
bucks
Starbucks.
in there. Yep.
Go somewhere that costs 99 cents. Throw the extra money towards Muffin.
Pop a couple of things. Like, you know what? Everybody has things like that happen, and accidents do happen, and that's what makes derby so great is we can support each other.
Exactly. But we're gonna get back to the action on the track. We'll tell you more about Muffin later. Nice hit, but on John Weichel from Corey Payne, instantly backwards. Beautiful web setup by Megasaurus and the rest of the Jensen Green. Would not let Puget sound back. That was phenomenal.
And it looks like we're having a power jam as well for Magic City right here. So Corey Payne and Quadzilla trying to shut him down, but not able to do that. They do have to let him go. So
there's a pretty decent bridge set up by TJ and Megasaurus, Tim and Chef.
I've been told he's TJ Brinkley, but I know he's
just
not,
and
they're just giving a hard time.
Just a tip. Just a tip. Look, he's saying just the tip of my finger. That's what I'm bridging with.
We got to be here, fellas. And they're just going to stop. They're going to try and slow down as much as they can and give Johnny Weichel the chance to get around there. And he's going to take a hit off of Corey. He's going to take a hit off of Gino. And they're going to have to let him go. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. But you know what Corey and Gino could be doing is trying to break up this green wall. There's no reason to just stand there and look.
Stand
Do some action.
Running right into the back of it, of course, when he comes out. John White. And now it's just a big mess.
Now it's a lot of chaos. Now it's a lot of Crayola crayons stammering.
We've just had kind of a switch. Thunderstruck out of the box, Quadzilla into the box, Johnny Weichel out of the pack.
5 points picked up.
5 points. So
Stan Decide is now lead jammer. Calls a jam. Good call by Stan.
Most definitely.
All right, look at that. We didn't even notice, Julia. That's how intense this action has been. We are going to go to the half right now. 45 on the board for Puget Sound.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's going to make this bout, I think, is little mistakes like that. And so stay tuned. What did we say? 110 to 45 in favor of Magic City.
Wow.
And we will see you after the break, about 15 minutes or so, correct?
Hey, yeah, you know what I'm going to do in the meanwhile? I'm going to see who all has made best wishes and speedy recovery messages on onetoughmuffin.chipin.com. You can read about Caitlin's story. She's phenomenal. I cannot stress enough how amazing this lady is. She's one of the scariest, most awesome skaters I've ever seen. She played.
We need to get her back on her skates then.
I cannot stop talking about her, clearly. I apologize. We're going to let you go. She's not going to be able to stand on her leg for at least 10 to 12 weeks. That's 3 months.
That's 3 months.
Okay, so
she's going to have a lot of time to watch, back DVDs of the men's roller derby tournament
Certainly.
while she's laid up and study those, and then we got to get her back on her skates and get her rolling. So everybody put in a couple bucks. It's, you know, it doesn't hurt anyone. You just don't drink your morning coffee for the next week or so. Get her back up on her skates, and she'll be skating again, and we'll have great derby back.
And hey, if you can't make a donation, you know what you can do? You can contribute in some way. Spread the word. All you got to do is post it on your Facebook, you know, something like that. Help
Most
her out.
definitely.
She needs it. She deserves it. All right, we're going to go to halftime real quick. We're going to give you a break from our mouths. Head on over to onetoughmuffin.chipin.com, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, indeed.